former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. So thank you for joining us. But what we do hear from many Haitians is that Haitians, as well as migrants from Syria and up to 11 other countries, they are right now afraid for their future following the Supreme Court's 6-3 TPS decision. What are immigration lawyers telling people currently with temporary protection status? That's the first question. And does the Supreme Court's decision leave open the possibility they could stay at all?
So I think they could stay if this administration would sort of say they understand what the conditions are in Haiti and just extend it. That's something that we've seen very clear in this government. TPS can be extended at any time from the government. But will they from the administrative edge? There's also a bill that's in the Senate right now, and if it passes with enough votes, it might send a strong message to the White House that we should extend this TPS because it's going to impact a lot of workers across the United States. I'm currently the chair of Haitian Bridge Alliance, which is the largest immigration group serving the Haitian nationals in the United States right now. And I'm sure I hope you get back to the story because they're going to be very devastated. It's unfooting for someone to pull the rug from underneath your feet if you've been in the country for 15 years, 8 years, 2 years, 5 years, or 2 years, or even 18 months with little or no notice and have no consideration about where you're going to return to when the State Department webpage says Haiti is not safe to be returned. So there is an option, and the first option is for President Trump to have some mercy on these individuals and say, we're going to extend the TPS because the conditions have changed, along with the Secretary of State and Mr. Mullins to push it through. The next option is for Congress to push it through and for Congress to do this bill and to send it to the White House with that support. And we're calling on Americans right now to stand up, specifically those who are going to be impacted, these communities where thousands of people will be removed from their homes, their cars, their schools, to say, to call these numbers and let them know. Because the thing I want to also sort of put in this point is they have United States children and they're not going to take their children back to Haiti. So we're going to create wards of the state in all of these states across the country.
Oof. You mentioned Markwayne Mullin, the Homeland Security Secretary, who we heard from this morning. Let's take a listen together.
What we want, and the president has made this very clear, those that are coming to this country legally, they need to be able to contribute to the United States, not be a burden on the taxpayers. And so we are continuing looking at our temporary protected status. Those individuals that do need assistance because of the country they're in, we're always looking at them. There isn't a more generous country in the world than the United States. But we don't want people to take advantage of it.
What he said in there, were people with TPS status taking advantage of the United States?
So these are some of the concerns I had with the appointment of Mr. Mullins. I don't know him personally, but I don't think he has the range for this position, either the legal background or the foundation in immigration law to understand exactly how they work. People on TPS don't take any public assistance across the board. It's the exact opposite. Many people on TPS are filling positions that other Americans don't fill or are low-fill positions. They're doing those substitute jobs that you're actually seeing corporations come back online in Ohio because of TPS. So TPS people in the country are paying taxes, not voting, day-to-day good citizens, and participating in growing our economy across the board in the number of $6 billion across the United States. So that's just a fallacy that they're taking something from us. We're getting something back from TPS holders, just like we do from other immigrants and his forefathers as they came to this country. It's a mutual agreement that you have workers filling these jobs. And this concept that we're generous, sure, we're generous in the concept that our history has been generous over time, but they're not taking anything from us, and they're legal because they're vetted and they're registered through the system, and they get work authorization every 18 months. So you know who these individuals are. So why are you going to de-status this cohort of people to make the number of 11 million people even greater to remove from the United States? It just doesn't make sense.
So the Supreme Court justices, Alan, they were presented with Donald Trump's accusations that Haiti is a, quote, blank hole, not going to say the word, country, that migrants eat household pets, that Haitians, quote, probably have AIDS. Alito wrote for the majority, whatever one may think of the cited statements, they are insufficient to show that the termination of Haiti's TPS designation was based on the race of the Haitian people. You had the liberal justices refuting that, almost laughably in their dissent, writing, quote, the evidence is there, plain to see in the president's statements, which the majority, and for that matter, his own lawyers, cannot even bear to repeat. Why did Trump's comments not factor into the majority's decision?
I think it's a political statement of the court and really a failure right now of the Supreme Court, specifically in immigration law. They're making law rather than just legislating on the rules, and even not understanding the protections, the Equal Protection Clause, which Haitian Bridge brought this case before them to say, you can't sort of do these things on these grounds for these reasons. And the courts basically said, hands off whatever the executive branch wants. And we've also seen case last week when we talked about green card holders returning to the United States. We've sort of seen this washing of the hands. But under our Constitution, the Congress has the ability to regulate immigration. The executive branch should just enforce it. But what we're seeing now is the judicial branch saying to the executive branch, you know what, since Congress isn't doing anything and they haven't done anything since '86, you now have the power to make the laws. And they're changing the way we're interpreting these immigration laws at a great impact to our nation and our country.
Eleanor, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your time.